Hello everyone, this is Delvin and a warm welcome to all at MESC Red Devils NCR. Today we will be speaking about a wide variety of topics which concern United on general as well as it concerns certain external factors which are not under our control but more or less end up with United being the topic of focus. We start off with I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we start off with a news that could be a potential gut punch for us as far as this season is concerned. Uh, as everyone knows that we recently dispatched of Brighton in a tense penalty shootout to secure our place in FA Cup final where Manchester City will be facing us, and the final automatically holds a lot of significance in the course of this season as well as in the course of English football as general, as it will solely be on us to stop Manchester City from winning that elusive treble, which at this point in time they look favourites to go ahead and complete the treble, which has only been done, which is a feat that has only been accomplished by us on that glorious year of 1999. However, that is a discussion for another day, and whether or not they do end up securing the treble or no. One thing is certain, that this time it is in our hands to stop them from doing so. With that being said, let us just dive right into all the topics that we will be covering here. First, let's talk about Bruno Fernandes' availability. Now, as we all know, that Bruno Fernandes has been a key cog in the wheel for Manchester United this season. He's had one of his better seasons and has had one of his most balanced seasons in a United shirt, where he's been scoring as well as assisted. He's had more than 10 goals and 10 assists for us this season. However, if reports are to be believed, that then Bruno might as well go ahead and miss the games against Spurs and Aston Villa due to an injury he sustained in the game against Brighton in the semi-final. There were a couple of challenges which were heavy, and it seemed like Bruno's game was over. But to Bruno's credit, he manned up and he continued to go throughout the game. He played for the 90, and I guess he played for 102 minutes until he was substituted at during the first period of extra time, and you could see that he was walking with pain. He was walking a bit dodgy. He was walking dodgy, and he wasn't himself while he was playing after the knock as well. And while Bruno Fernandes' wife initially took to Instagram and spoke about the fact that the protective boot he was wearing was only a precaution, it seems like it could be much more than just a precaution, with reports circulating around that the injury could be a substantial one and that Bruno could miss a couple of games, if not more. While Bruno is a key member in our side, and the last time we were without Bruno was in the game against Sevilla. And we all know what happened in that game. Without Bruno, we do lack that creative spark. We have a sense of impotency when it comes to attack, and the absence of Bruno significantly decreases our threat whenever we are in an attacking transition or in an attacking phase of play where there is no one apart from Bruno to supplement us with that creative pass or that one individual moment of quality. I mean, yes, there is Eriksen, but then Eriksen, ever since returning from injury, has been a shadow of himself, and you could see that in the game against Brighton in the semi-final as well, where he was way below his usual levels of performance as far as his overall game was concerned, and he was rightfully hooked off within the hour mark for Fredge, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it was not the best of games for Eriksen, who clearly looked short of the pace, and we cannot afford another moment like this where Eriksen comes in and gives a performance which is not exactly up to his standards, whether or not it is influenced by mitigating factors as well. So Bruno's absence is going to be a massive blow for us. Whether or not he plays, it remains to be seen. As of now, nothing has been officially announced as well. These are all tentative reports. But for now, might as well just go ahead and brace ourselves for Bruno potentially missing the Spurs game. Not sure about the Aston Villa game though, whether or not he makes a return for that. But yeah, it is not a good sign. It was posted in our Twitter handle also. Whether it was a precautionary measure or whether it was not, the sight of Bruno in a protective boot is not good, because protective boots are only worn when there is the potential of that injury being a substantial one or a serious one. And that is exactly what has transpired. Whether or not it is true remains to be seen. The next phase is a little bit of a transfer gossip, which has been making the rounds, and that is concerning United's goalkeeping conundrum. Everyone knows that De Gea is currently United's number one, and he's leading the list for the Premier League's Golden Glove with 14 clean sheets. But you and I both know that that is not exactly the entire story. De Gea has, on one hand, while De Gea has shown certain improvement in key areas such as he's able to marginal improvement in his distribution, control, claim, sweeping, so on and so forth. But we saw the worst of De Gea in the game against Sevilla, where he was culpable for all three goals. I certainly blame him for the first and third goal, but then to each their own opinion. But that game was a clear indictment of the fact that De Gea cannot be United's number one in the long run. But the United hierarchy think otherwise, and it seems that De Gea signing a contract extension is only a matter of time. But we all know that until De Gea is United's number one, Ten Hag cannot play the way he wants to. Ten Hag cannot implement his style of play, because this year has been a year where he has been forced to make do with the things that he has. And to Ten Hag's credit, he's more often than not found a solution to such problems, and he's worked around them. But as time progresses, De Gea will certainly go ahead and be a problem which cannot be worked around. And the only logical solution to that problem would be to get rid of the problem altogether. In this method, in this context, it means by getting rid of De Gea himself, whether it is in the summer, whether it's in the winter, somewhere down the line. So the reports are that United have focused their attention towards Dominik Livakovic. The Croatian keeper currently plies his trade for Dinamo Zagreb in the Croatian league, and was one of the standout performances for Croatia. Not only for Croatia, was one of the standout performers as far as goalkeepers are concerned, after Emiliano Martinez, who won the Golden Glove in the World Cup, and Yassine Bounou for Morocco. Dominik Livakovic was another one whose star significantly rose with his performances in the World Cup. The 28-year-old has currently played 30 games in the Croatian Super League and has had 8 clean sheets. And I think he had one clean sheet in the Champions League as well. The 1-0 win against Chelsea. So he has 9 clean sheets in the 36 games that he's played so far on club level. The fact that he had multiple clean sheets in Croatia is not a secret to anyone. However, United are ready to make a bid for him and secure his services by paying his release clause, which is 10 million euros. Now, on face value, 10 million euros is not exactly a steep price to pay for a keeper who is just entering the peak of his powers at 28 years old. And as everyone knows, that 28 is not exactly an old age for goalkeepers, because goalkeepers can go on up until their late 30s or even early 40s for that matter. Take Gigi Buffon, for example. But or even Van der Sar, for that instance, who retired with United. He retired from football when he was 41 years old, with a fateful Barca final in 2011 being his final game for the club. However, Livakovic and De Gea are keepers of similar profile, as in great at shot stopping, and they're brilliant when they have to be reactive. But both of them are in a level where they are not exactly proactive, or they are not exactly keepers who are good with the ball at their feet. Now, Livakovic certainly is an upgrade, because he's marginally better, but then at this point, marginally better is not going to cut it. We need a keeper who's comfortable with the ball at his feet, who is the starting point of attack, who is going to be a supplementary presence with the ball at his feet, because the game has changed. And yes, I am one of those people who believe in the fact that a goalkeeper should be judged solely on the basis of shot stopping and how many clean sheets it keeps. But the game has evolved to a certain extent where just saves or just keeping clean sheets are just not going to cut it at this point. The fact that possession for a goalkeeper remains such an important part is, if you just look at our opponents who we played, Brighton, De Zerbi has gradually phased out Sanchez because he doesn't fit his definition of building out from the back. Which Pep Guardiola himself has gone on and said that Brighton's play out from the back is one of the best in the world. So if a manager is not comfortable with a keeper who's already adept with the ball at his feet, then you imagine how far the game has evolved. So, Livakovic, I'm not exactly sold on the idea of Livakovic playing for United because yes, he has all the attributes required, but then De Gea has been doing that for years and years and years before. Uh, when he was in his phase where like nothing could breach his defenses, so on and so forth. But at this stage, Livakovic not exactly the signing that I would look for. My personal favorite would be David Raya. The Brentford keeper has only 1 year left on his Brentford contract, and he's not shown any indication as of signing a contract extension with the London-based club. Raya is 27. He's more than adept with the ball at his feet. His save ratio has been insane. He's been one of the best keepers in the Premier League this season and comes at a steal of around 15 to 20 million. However, there are other sections of United fans and pundits who do believe that Diogo Costa of Porto and Portugal in international level could be the person that Man United and Eric Ten Hag look for. However, whoever it be, we just need a keeper who can be adept with the ball at his feet. So, in that matter, Livakovic for me is a no. I do not want him. Not because he's a bad goalkeeper, but it's just that we already have a keeper of a similar profile who we employ currently in the form of De Gea. The next issue that we'll be talking about, not exactly an issue, but it could have the potential of souring relationships between the club and a particular player. This incident is of Alejandro Garnacho, our young star boy who's currently recuperating from injury and is not far off from a return to first team activities. It involves him with his eagerness to participate for Argentina in the upcoming Under-20 World Cup. So Argentina initially did not qualify for this competition. They had a pretty poor record in the qualifying stages and were unable to qualify for it. But they have been thrown a lifeline because the original hosts of the World Cup, who were Indonesia, were stripped off their hosting rights. So with the hosting in limbo, Argentina chose to volunteer, and Argentina were granted the hosting rights for the Under-20 FIFA World Cup. So by default, since they are hosts, Argentina automatically qualify, which means that this young lot who are managed by Javier Mascherano, former Barcelona and Liverpool player, do want have an added incentive of bringing glory back to their country. Argentina have already won the Men's Football World Cup, as everyone knows. So this would be a step in the right direction for Argentina football in general, if and when they do manage, if at all they do manage to win the World Cup. The FIFA World Cup, the Under-20 FIFA World Cup starts from May 20th and it goes on until June 11th. But the problem here is Manchester United are reluctant to send Garnacho to Argentina. And Garnacho is very, very eager and is borderline desperate to join his teammates in Argentina to go ahead and make sure that, he wants to play. He basically wants to play for Argentina. In fact, he's so eager to go that he's personally gone ahead Ten Hag and personally spoken about representing Argentina on the in 2011. The exact words are, "I want to write my own story. Please let me go." If reports are to be believed, this is the personal plea that Garnacho has made to Eric Ten Hag. Now, Eric Ten Hag is pretty reluctant to let Garnacho go because from the time the World Cup starts, United have 3 Premier League games to play at that point in time. One against Bournemouth, one against Chelsea, and the season finale against Fulham. But more importantly, the fact still remains that if at all Argentina do qualify for the latter stages of the World Cup, there is a potential chance that Alejandro Garnacho could not be a part of the FA Cup final, which I spoke about earlier is of immense significance now that we know that we're facing Man City, and it could be upon us to stop them from winning that treble. Now, with already attacking options at a premium, and with Jadon Sancho not firing the way he should be firing, Alejandro Garnacho, with the breakthrough season that he has had, obviously becomes a very key cog in the wheel for United, even though he's currently going to feel himself back after a pronounced injury layoff. And you know the drill when it comes to a player, who's come out from a substantial injury absence. But it seems that United are not ready to let go, and Garnacho is of the opposite point of view. And in all this, even the Argentine chairman has come in and will fly in to Manchester for talks regarding Garnacho's availability. A couple of other players who will be representing Argentina under 20s from the Premier League is Maxime Perron, who's a new January signing from Man City, and Federico Buonanotte, who's a youth prospect from Brighton and Hove Albion. So these are the other two Premier League players who are contracted by Premier League clubs who have been given the green light to go and represent the country from their clubs respectively. However, Garnacho's presence is not just of an academy player. Garnacho has made a breakthrough in the first team and is considered to be a first team player, which makes things that much more difficult. However, United are very well within their rights to let Garnacho, to reject Garnacho or to stop Garnacho from going for the World Cup because of the tournament starting date. The tournament does not fall in a FIFA window, which means that United are not necessarily obliged to let Garnacho go, and they can do whatever they feel is right in that particular situation, which currently seems to be that Garnacho will be staying at Man United. Whether or not this goes on to sour relationships between player and the club remains to be seen. But one thing remains certain, that if United have sat on a decision, I don't think that decision is going to change unless and until something really dramatic happens or something really out of the blue happens. So for now, Garnacho will not be linking up with Argentina, and his dream for representing Argentina at any sort of level right now is still a dream. But we know that there's every possibility that he's going to be a part of that Argentine side for years to come. Uh, so for so that's all there is to speak about. Whether or not Garnacho will go to Argentina is the question. The other question is, what other goalkeeper would you prefer apart from Livakovic to, be, whether it is a backup or the starting goalkeeper for United? To have your say in the comment section below. And the first one, do you believe that Manchester United could go ahead and get the 3 points or 6 points in Bruno's absence for the games against Spurs and Aston Villa? What are your thoughts on all three? Please go ahead and let us know in the comment section below. With that, we come to an end of this episode of Delvin's 2 cents on MESC Red Devils NCR. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do smash that like button, guys, and share this video across to as many United fans as possible so that they know of the work that we are doing, and also that YouTube Baba also recognizes the work and effort that we put in. Do press the subscribe button. Please press the bell icon so that you're notified for any and every video that we put up on this channel. Apart from that, we're perpetually active on our social media space on Instagram and on Twitter. The link is in the description below. Go ahead and drop us a follow there as well. I say this on every stream. I say this on every video. This is no different. Every day is match day on our official WhatsApp group. Go ahead, join us. It's an ever-growing family. We always have room for more. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you soon with another episode when due course. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. GGMU to all. Take care.